Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks and another episode of Building Jabba'S Palace. And this week we have got something new in the Lego room, and it is the set 9516. So ordered this a few weeks ago and had some brilliant service from William at Welsh 2538 on eBay. And it was sealed in box, all the bags sealed, perfect condition. So I had to wait for a friend to bring it over from the UK out here in Ireland. So that's arrived. Can't believe how much I've had to pay just to get a few minifigures, and it is literally just Leia, Ula, I think her name is, the Sith dancer, and the little creature, and obviously Jabba. I mean, Jabba I would have been happy making a brick built one, but looking at him, he does look pretty cool. So got the set. So what I'll probably do, I'm going to take the figures out, keep all of the set all bagged up. Apart from that, I'll take them out literally just at the end, to film the finale, and then I'll probably sell the set on. But yeah, so really pleased to finally have that in my possession, just so we can get it up there. Again, the hardening carbonite, I don't need that because I've got one from the UCS Slave 1. Anyway, back to the mock. We're going to be starting off by getting this trapdoor finished. I've amended the cogs in here. So I did have a large cog here to start with, and I think that was what was causing the problem with the timing of everything. So I'm pretty confident we've got that sorted out. So I'm going to get the trapdoor put back on there, just make sure it works one last time. And then we're going to be starting off by building this section up here and getting the layout of the palace worked out. So that's what this episode is going to be mainly about. We do have to, as I mentioned last week, build up this little bit here, because this is what the palace is going to be coming over to, this section. Still waiting for the arches to come in from lego.com, which are going to be going here, and the black one, which is going to be going there. So that's holding things up quite a bit as well. But again, I might just put some support struts in here ready for it. And another thing that we really desperately need are some of these dark tan tiles, so we can tile off this area here as well and up on the steps. Again, I may end up stealing the tiles from the Rancor pit just to do the steps, places where I'm going to struggle to get to, basically. So yeah, that's the plans. So anyway, as we say, enough talking, let's get building. And we have finally finished the cogs. Look at this. So you turn the lever, this axle that goes all the way along here turns that cog, which will then go turn that big cog there. There are, I think it's 5 large ones all working their way down. That second one back there has got an axle to another large cog underneath here, so that will operate the 2 runners. The axle going across from this big cog here will then turn the small cogs, which all in turn operate the trapdoor. And it's taken so long to get this working how I wanted to. Before I started all of the main section here, I mocked up a small section just to check that I could work a mechanism, how to do it, and it had like 4 or 5 cogs at most on there, and it looked so straightforward. However, when it came to implement it to the mock, it's turned out to be so much harder. And I think the biggest problem has been I need to use these big cogs, and as you can see, they stick up quite away from the Technic beam. So had I had it here where ideally it would have been, it would be sticking up through the floor, which you don't see in Return of the Jedi or the Book of Boba Fett come to that. So I've had to move it all the way back here, which has meant I've needed all these cogs. I had originally had the axle coming in here, so it was directly onto here, and then cogs would then operate the gate below. However, the smaller cogs meant it worked at a slower speed, and there weren't as much rotations on axles, and it was causing all kinds of problems. So by moving it back, I've then brought the axle across here and then used loads of small cogs, which I can then tile above, which has then made it all work out. So it's been quite the process, and rather than taking today, I thought I was going to just spend like an hour or so finishing this up. 6.5 hours later, I've finally done it. So it has been very, very time consuming. And somebody did ask last week, is it really worth the time spent doing all of these working functions on a mock when I'm just going to be destroying it straight after I finish the build? And just like having that gate drop down for me is all important in the mock. It's like with the back cave, when I made that, somebody was asking, am I not going to have a lift working in there or a bookcase and things like that? And I think it is important to have all of these things in the mock, so that even though it's only going to be the mock's only going to be standing for a few days after completion, I just want it so that when I do that cinematic finale, it looks the best it possibly can. And also, it's really good fun having the challenges of making something like this work. It just keeps you thinking, keeps you sharp, and it makes you a better builder, I think. So I am going to start, I think, doing a few more Technic sets, because gears, I haven't got a clue how it all works, and this is probably more trial and error than actually knowing what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get back to it. Now we finally got that all sorted out, we can finally build up all of this back here, because obviously it's a little bit lower than this section here. Secure it all in place, plate it all off with tan plates, and then we can start mapping out how we're going to have the throne room. So the bit we've been trying to get to for weeks, we're finally going to start. And I'm just plating off this area here, and as you can see, we put all the plates on the floor, because I still haven't sorted them yet from destroying the back cave, and yeah, it's quite a bit of work there. But the one good thing with doing this part here is, once I've done this, I'm no longer going to have the problem of bricks falling through all of this scaffolding and having to fork it all out. It has been the most frustrating part of doing this mock. But anyway, let's get back to plating it off so we don't have that problem. And here we are back at the palace floor, and as you can see, we've got the viewing platform in there, and when we pan over it, you can see in there, decided to go for those gate paths. I think it's the best part usage on there. The cogs, you can see them there at the moment, but once we've tiled over, that'll be fine. And the same with that gap there, that will be tiled over as well. And when you move the lever, the trapdoor drops and the people fall through. And you can see the gate there that's blocking people off, and that comes up when we release the handle. So yeah, happy with how that's come along. Next thing we need to concentrate on is this room here. In the previous episode, we had put some stairs up there, and this was going to be a kitchen area at one stage. It was also going to be, I was considering having it as a neat, sort of like a room for putting like Easter eggs in and fun little bit details. However, when I switched the lights on earlier on, the bulb actually needs to be up about this high in order to get the light effect that I want. I was hoping just by having the bulb back here, it was going to work properly. However, it doesn't. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to build up the bricks around here. So it's 4 bricks high with black bricks, put the bulbs in, make sure it all works when it's plated off, and then see how much room we've got left over and whether or not putting a room in there is actually going to be possible. I would sooner have the lights looking how I want them to, rather than having a room here just for the sake of using this space up. I'd sooner just block this area off and have it all looking right. So anyway, we're going to get building that light section, and once we've done so, we'll check back in and let you know what we've decided. So here we have our additional room that we just added purely to use the space up. And I put some snot bricks on the wall so we can get some finer details in there. And down below you can see the light shining through into the prison cell there. In real life it does not look blue, so it's purely the camera that's making it look like that, and it also doesn't look quite as bright, so the camera is sort of like not showing a true image of what it looks like. But yeah, it's all coming on quite nicely. And now what we do, we've plated off right over the top of that. So I'm hoping I've come far enough with this so that I can actually put the hardening carbonite on there. If I need to come over further, I can do so. As I said, I still need to be able to get to this cell here, so I can put the rest of the arches in that section. And again, I'm going to have to squeeze the arches into this part here and down here as well, just for the droid torch room. It's all coming on. Anyway, now we can finally get to doing the layout for the throne room. And here we are with the start of the floor plan, and we're just building this area up here, and this is going to be the part where Han Solo's in carbonite, and obviously we've got the throne over here, and I've just put these 2 plates here, which is going to be what Jabba'S going to sit on. I'm anticipating it being about that big, and then that will slide forward to here. Now, it's not, looking at several pictures of it, it's not anywhere near to scale for the actual Jabba'S palace, and I'll have to use a lot of creative license with it, purely due to the layout of the palace. And if I show you this picture here, which is the layout, as you can see, when the steps come down, they're at this part of the viewing platform. However, on here, if I was to do that, it's where the trapdoor is. And this is something I was saying previously, where I can't see how this actually comes up in the correct place. In order for this door to come up, it would have to be over here. However, when you watch Return of the Jedi, it doesn't look like they're looking straight down at the Rancor. And also when the dancer falls through and she's there, she looks straight at 90 degrees from what I'm looking at the door, which would make the door here. So I can't see any consistencies in the, or not consistencies, I can't see how it works in the film. So we're just doing it how best we can with this. So I'm going to have the door for the archway there, which is going to be this one here, and the steps obviously curl up there. So it's a little bit out. Again, some pictures I've seen, the grate is square, the viewing platform is square. Other pictures I've seen are rectangular. So again, I'm just going to have it how I want to have on here. So although the mock might not be to scale, it might not be 100% accurate, we can do the best we can using Lego basically and the information that we have available to us. One thing I did sort of like see when I was watching the scene from Return of the Jedi is how small the throne room actually appears to be. Again, using a Lego minifigure, I don't think it's actually possible to make it the right size. So we're just going to do the best we can, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And here we have the layout of the throne room. So we put the stairs in the places where we are intending on doing it, and we've used the same floor plan as we showed you earlier. So it's just this one here. So obviously the section up there is there, the stairs. We've then got the two separate sets of stairs either side, and this section here will be these stairs here. However, we won't actually put stairs, we're just going to put an archway in, and the same here. And then obviously this bit just back there will be where Han is hung in carbonite. So I think it's coming along quite well. The only thing I'm not sure about is these here. We've got these pillars, and they'll be right here, and they would be arched and leaning very slightly forward. However, if we put them in, the viewing options for seeing in here is going to be very minimal. So I'm thinking about just putting in like the tables and chairs where the bounty hunters would sit, and then that will be it. So you've got a clear viewing through there. This section down here where the stairs would be, I'm not going to be putting the stairs in, as I said, so again you'll be able to see through these gaps, so I think that's going to work out quite well. But obviously there is going to be a roof on here, so you won't be able to see down into the mock. And over here obviously you've got the stairs which will come up there, so we just put the wall on and the stairs so you can see necessarily on there. I may change the shape of this, it'd be quite easy to do. I'll just add some more plates on these either side and cover the grill area. But yeah, it's come on quite nicely. All I need to do now is dig out a load of my tan bricks, and then we can start building all of the walls up. And just checking in with a progress update. As you can see, we've got a few of the walls built up here. The archway going through to the stairs. Start of the archway that will lead through to where Han will be in carbonite. And we started building the walls up. I've used these ones with the arches on because when you're here, you can only just about make them out and you can't see through them. So this is the only part that you're going to actually be able to see through down that way. If I have got enough tan bricks, I will change them out, but it's not that much of an issue because it just adds a little bit more detail to the wall. I'm trying to add as much detail in it because obviously it's a very large tan area, so we're using a lot of the masonry bricks, both backwards and frontwards. So when they're backwards, it's just the line on there, and obviously the line's going downward on the correct way round. We've got an ingot and also a modified plate along with a normal plate there, and we've indented the wall there, and we'll tile over that as well, just so it sits back a little bit. So a lot of these details you might not necessarily in the palace, but I'm just making it so it's got a little bit of character on there. When we swing around this way, we've got the archway there that goes through, and that's the stairs that Leia brings Chewie down, so the stairs will curve up that way. I want to make sure that arch is curved enough, otherwise we'll do a brick built one, so I just need to check on that. But yeah, really pleased with how that's all coming on. What we're going to do now, I'm going to turn away from here and I'm going to get back to doing the hangar. We're back in the hangar here, and I've removed 3 of the sections that go along the length of the hangar roof that just hang using the Technic beams just here. Now what we need to do is make sure they all look the same. As you can see, there's loads of gaps in there, multiple different colour plates and everything else on there, so we need to get a consistent look going across there. Now here are one of the remove beams that we've got, and originally I was going to be using these 2x2 tiles over the top of any colour plate on there. However, the one thing I'm concerned about is if you can see any gaps through the tile, which is unlikely, it's going to annoy me. So I'm going to go for the same colour. I've got plenty of these 4x8 in the nougat colour here, so they're all going to be looking like that. Now as mentioned, I was going to use the 2x2s. It needs 60 of those per beam, and I haven't got the amount I'm going to need to do this entire section. I need 660 of them just to do that hangar roof. So I think there's 11 of them on there. However, what I have got is a whole pick brick cut of the light tan ingot 1x2 tiles. So I've decided to use those, and I've done one here already, and as you can see it doesn't look too bad. And I think once it's up on the roof going across there, the lines that you'll be able to see down, I think it might help give the illusion of the curve, or at least that's what I'm hoping. Or you're not going to notice where there are the joins between each 4x tile. So I think it's quite a good idea using those. I know it might not be accurate to what you see in like the Book of Boba Fett. I'm sure the ceiling's smooth on there. However, we are using a little bit of creative license in this entire mock, because it's not, I don't think it's possible to get it looking exactly like you would expect to see it in Return of the Jedi. So hopefully it's going to look good. What we need to do first of all, we need to get the beams that come out from there and go up to the ceiling that we showed you earlier in one of the previous episodes, and the same on this side as well. So I'm just going to refer back to my reference material, have a look to see roughly how they look, and then put them in there if we can, attach the lights to it, and then just make up the 11 of these that we need to do. So 1320 of these ingots we're going to be using just on this roof section. So it just goes to show how part intensive these mocks are. When you sort of like think when people say there's like a 50,000 piece mock, well, there's over 1,000 just in one section alone, and it's a fraction of what this mock's like. So yeah, it just goes to show how part intensive they are. So anyway, let's get back to that reference material, see how it's supposed to look like, and then we can carry on with the roof section. And there we have that platform suspended from the ceiling. So we've used a couple of the string bits which have got the stud on the end. If I can get some longer ones, or get another 2 of those, then I might make it so that comes down a little bit lower, so it's almost level with the platform. And then it's connected on using another one of the longer ones, which is connected to the end of the bar. Goes up, wraps around there, then goes along there, wraps around there, and then it's just plugged into a Technic pin there just to keep it in place. So we can adjust the length of it just by moving that. But at least now I'm happy with the height of the bar on there. So it's just a little added detail to the hanger. But I said I can amend that easily enough, because these are just clipped onto that plate bit there. But yeah, there's that bit. Now we can put all of the beams across, and hopefully the ceiling will all join up through there. One thing I did notice on the middle beam there are some grills on there which allow light to shine through. I was going to put lights in there, like spotlights or something like that, but I'm going to try and do it so that I can get the light shining through the grill instead. But let's see how that comes out. Let's get back to the 1,000 odd tiles we've got to put on. And we've made a slight amendment to the panels. We've extended the plating by 1 stud on each end, so it now covers this beam here. So when you're looking up, you're not going to see a gap. We now no longer have to work out how we're going to cover that over. Because we're using these Technic beams which have got a curved edge, it doesn't interfere with the plate, so it works out perfectly. I had already done 6 of these. However, it doesn't make much difference work-wise, because each of these plates here, all the tiles are on the plate. So I can just peel a whole section off, so it's not a case of having to retile all of them, it's just a case of moving the plates along. So once we've got all those done, we'll put it back in, and hopefully it'll look good. Just checking in one final time for this update, and the ceiling is completely tiled, and really pleased with how it's come out. Using the ingots I think was the right way forward on there. We have left a couple of holes on the top, just there, and just there, and we're going to put some bricks around it and then have some light shining down through there. We might try and do some sort of like grill, because there is a grill effect shadow that comes through, I've seen in one of the pictures, into the hanger. Obviously we've got that platform hanging there as well. Just need to adjust that once we've got the right strings. But again, these sort of details we can sort out afterwards. The fact that it's all in there in place is good enough. And the string hanging from the ceiling, again, that one's absolutely fine. It's just the ones on the actual sort of platform itself that could do with being altered. So yeah, now we've got all that sorted out, we can reinforce the top of this and build across there. It'd be nice to get this section all filled in and bridged across as well. We just need to tile down there. I have come across a few tiles, and again I might do the same as I mentioned before and just steal a few from the front areas here where it's easy to get to, just so I can get that section tiled off and get that all sorted out. So it'd be quite good to do that. The throne room itself, again, pleased with the how that's starting to look now, and you can start to really visualise the sort of size of it. Need to do a few sort of like prototyping parts, like how I'm going to do the archway over the throne, and also how I'm going to get the throne to roll forward on there. But yeah, there it is. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. Obviously, the more subscribers, the better. It helps the channel to grow, helps others to find the channel and enjoy this this mock build series along with the other content on the channel. And hit the notification bell so you can be kept up to date with when the videos will be dropping on the channel. Share it with as many people as possible, and please give it a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed what you've seen. Anyway, thanks for popping on by. See you next time. Bye for now.